When I was about 9 years old, I lived with my mom and little sister in a small house in a quiet town. The street was mostly safe, and kids would ride their bikes outside in the summer. But even back then, there were things that didn't feel right about the house. My mom used to say it was old, and old houses make noises. But some of the things I remember from that time didn't sound like house noises. They sound like something else, something I still don't really know how to explain. The first thing started one night when I couldn't sleep. I was lying in my bed with a blanket pulled up to my chin, staring at the little glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. My room wasn't very big, just a bed, a dresser, and a toy chest near the window. I remember looking at the shadows on the wall from the trees outside. The branches swayed whenever the wind blew, and I told myself that's what I was seeing. But then I noticed one shadow wasn't moving like the others. It was in the corner, down low, near my toy chest. At first, I thought it was a pile of clothes or one of my big stuffed animals. I almost laughed at myself because I thought I was just being a scared kid. But then I blinked, and the shadow was gone. I remember feeling cold, like the kind of cold that comes from the inside of your body, not the air. I pulled the blanket over my head and fell asleep. The next morning, I didn't even think about it until I saw my toy chest. It was standing open, like someone had been looking inside. I never left it open because my mom would yell if toys spilled out. I closed it and didn't say anything. A few weeks later, my sister, who was only 5, told my mom she didn't like the man in the closet. I basically froze when she said it, because she said it so casually, as if it were just a fact. My mom brushed it off and said, "Little kids imagine things." But I saw my sister's face, and I could tell she wasn't making it up. She said he would stand in the closet at night and whisper, but she couldn't hear the words. My mom tucked her in that night and said a prayer with her, but she didn't check the closet. Later that night, I woke up because I heard something dragging across my floor, like someone pulling their nails across the wood. I was too scared to move, but the sound stopped right by my bed. I was sure if I looked over the side, I'd see something staring up at me. I just froze there, clutching the blanket until I fell asleep again. The next morning, there were long scratches on the floor, right by the side of my bed. They were fresh, like someone had carved into the wood. I remember running to show my mom, but she got angry. She said I must have been playing with something sharp or dragging furniture. I swore I hadn't, but she didn't believe me. After that, the nights got worse. I would hear faint whispers, almost like a radio on low volume, and it would come from my closet. Sometimes my sister would cry in her room, and when I ran in, she would be pointing at the corner, saying, "He's there, he's there." I never saw him, but I believed her. You know when someone's watching you and the hairs on your arms stand up? That's how it felt. The scariest night was in the middle of winter. I woke up and saw my bedroom door was open, even though I always shut it. I could see the hallway light because my mom left one on for us at night. But then as I watched, the light in the hall went out. I thought maybe the bulb turned out. Then I heard footsteps coming down the hall. They stopped outside my door. I wanted to scream for my mom, but nothing came out. The door creaked, and I saw a tall, dark shape lean in, just its head poking into the room. I shut my eyes and pretended to be asleep. When I opened them again, the door was closed and I was alone. In the morning, I asked my mom if she had come into my room. She said no. She had been asleep all night. My sister said she saw the man again, standing by her bed. We told my mom together, and she finally looked worried. She lit a candle and said a prayer in each room of the house. Things were quiet for a little while after that, but it didn't last. One afternoon, I came home from school before my mom. I was sitting on the couch doing homework when I heard the sound of the toy chest in my room slam shut. The thing is, nobody else was home. I hoped it was just the wind, but when I walked down the hall, I saw my bedroom door was wide open. My toy chest was closed, but all my toys were scattered on the floor like someone had dumped them out. I backed away and waited outside until my mom came home. When I told her, she still didn't believe me and said the cat knocked things over. Years later, after we moved out, I asked my mom if she ever experienced anything in that house. She hesitated, then said yes. She said sometimes she would wake up and see a shadow standing in her doorway. She said she never told us because she didn't want to scare us, but she admitted she believed there was something wrong with that house. She said she thought it was a man, someone who used to live there. She never said much more, but I know what I saw, and I know what my sister saw too. Even now as an adult, when I think about that time, I feel sick in my stomach. It wasn't imagination. It was something real, and it wanted us to know it was there. Sometimes late at night when I can't sleep, I still hear the sound of nails dragging across the floor.